If you're looking for a comfortable, customizable, premium pair of Bluetooth earbuds that won't break your wallet, stick around to the end of the show because I've got a big discount offer just for you. When it comes to evaluating draft prospects, there's something to be said for gut feelings. Sometimes you can't really point to any specific metric or physical trait, and maybe the guy you really like isn't the best at any one thing, but even then, deep down, you just know that they're a really good football player and deserve to be drafted high. For me, this year, my ultimate gut feeling draft crush is LSU's Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He may only be 5'7", he may only weigh a modest 207 pounds, and he may have ran a pedestrian 4.6 40 at the combine, but even knowing all of that, every single time I try to study a defensive player against the LSU offense, I still can't take my eyes off of him. When the pads go on and he has to play in a real game, not just running through drills and spandex, he's flat out one of the most dominant players on the field every week, and that's saying a lot considering who else is on his team. Hell, even Joe Burrow himself, without hesitation, has said that Edwards-Helaire is the best player he's ever played with, and that's coming from someone who's been teammates with Chase Young, both of the Bosa brothers, Michael Thomas, Ezekiel Elliott, Terry McLaurin, Malik Hooker, Denzel Ward, Marshawn Lattimore, Dwayne Haskins, Devin White, Kayvon Chaisson, Justin Jefferson, Patrick Queen, and Jamar Chase, among many, many other current and future NFL players. Out of all of the names on that list, in Burrow's probably heavily biased opinion, he still thought Edwards-Helaire was the best. Now, do I agree with him on that? Probably not. But to me, Clyde is still pretty damn good. What really sets him apart from most other running backs, though, in my opinion, are two of the more important but also underappreciated strengths that a running back can have: vision and lateral agility. While Edwards-Helaire may not be the biggest, fastest, or strongest guy out there, his ability to read opposing run fits quickly and then use his truly rare agility to cut, bounce, or just damn near teleport right to the hole he needs to is unparalleled in this class. His feet remind me a lot of Devonta Freeman in that respect back in Freeman's prime when he could stop and start instantly. And on top of those fast feet, Clyde's vision and patience look very similar to Le'Veon Bell as well, especially when reading gap plays where he literally stops, squares himself to the line of scrimmage while reading his blocks, and then viciously bounces in either direction with his trademark jump cuts. That vision and agility were the prime reasons why co-offensive coordinators Steve Ensminger and Joe Brady ran so many gap run plays, primarily duo out of their shotgun looks, because they knew that even if the blocking wasn't great and the double teams weren't perfect, Edwards-Helaire was still gifted enough to sort through the trash anyway and be highly productive no matter what. Here's an example of what I mean by that, by the way, just to give you a visualization. This is a duo call against Alabama from their bread and butter formation, the tight bunch, and as Sean Payton so graciously revealed this week, their terminology for tight splits in a bunch is Quizno, and LSU was essentially running Payton's offense last year, so we'll just call this gun bunch left Quizno A strong. And the thing you have to remember with duo, or any other gap run scheme that doesn't have a lead blocker, is that it requires both patience and aggressiveness from the running back at the same time. Edwards-Helaire is taking this handoff from a vertical track here, meaning he's pointing straight north and south as he gets the ball and approaches the line of scrimmage, but he's not supposed to just slam himself into that hole and hope for the best. He's supposed to press it aggressively to draw defenders into that hole, while still being patient enough to read the defensive front in case he needs to bounce out of that gap and into another one. If the Mike linebacker or whoever else is responsible for setting the edge darts inside the tight end to shoot the C-gap, then Clyde needs to be ready to bend the run slightly outside and run behind his double team from his receivers. If the edge run defender stays outside instead, and the will linebacker stays home all the way in the weak side B-gap, then Clyde can just keep on going downhill on his vertical track and take the free 5 yards that the defense gives him. Or if the will linebacker scrapes all the way to the front side of the play and abandons that B-gap, just like he does here, Clyde needs to recognize that he's got two defenders filling one gap, drop his hips and hit the brakes immediately, and then bounce all the way to daylight on the backside. There's a lot of different options here, and it's a difficult balance to strike sometimes because gap scheme runs, especially duo runs, can be bent or bounced in several different directions, and you have to make reads and decisions extremely quickly to be able to find the right hole at the right time. But Edwards-Helaire has mastered that skill set far better than most other college running backs. Conversely, on zone runs for instance, especially outside zone which is so prevalent these days, those front-side reach blocks can sometimes take a long time to develop, relatively speaking, so running backs have a long time to read them and make a cut. But on gap scheme plays, like what LSU predominantly runs, you've got to go and hit those gaps right now. After you do that little stutter to read how the blocks are developing, you don't have time to think. You just have to read it and make a cut off pure instinct, and Edwards-Helaire's instincts are almost always correct. And that's not to say that Clyde never had to read zone blocking or that he can't read it. I mean, LSU ran plenty of inside zone plays and some zone lead inserts every now and then as well, and he read all of those just fine. In fact, I'd venture to say that if you had to put him in a pure zone running system, he'd probably still be highly productive. But LSU ran a lot of gap plays for a reason, and it's because Edwards-Helaire is a special running back at getting the most out of those duo runs. You also saw his rare quickness and burst show up in the passing game too, whether it was roasting linebackers on option routes or catching dimes on corner routes in the back of the end zone. Edwards-Helaire has immense potential as a third down passing threat in any offense. I think if you put him on the right team, even as a rookie, he could very easily catch 70 to 80 passes without even breaking a sweat. Just look at it this way, LSU, who was basically running the Saints offense last year, had Edwards-Helaire performing both the Mark Ingram role and the Alvin Kamara role at the same time, and he excelled in both of them against top-tier competition each and every week. If that doesn't tell you a lot about what this kid brings to the table on all three downs, then I don't know what else to say. Even in the Alabama game, despite all of the top-flight talent that was on the field for both teams that night, Edwards-Helaire was still arguably the most dominant player in that whole matchup. 180 yards, 4 touchdowns, almost 30 touches. I mean, he was spectacular. And as the game wore on and as Bama staged that roaring second-half comeback, Clyde just got better and better with every touch to seal that victory. For example, take a look at this 3rd and 10 in the fourth quarter, with Burrow throwing a tough ball under pressure to try to keep them in it. Even with an inaccurate throw and a defender literally standing in between him and the first down marker after he caught it, that's no problem for Clyde. He just made lemonade out of lemons and ran right through Trayvon Diggs for 6 extra yards to move the chains. How about later in that same possession, after he got 3 of the next 4 touches to get LSU into scoring position in the first place? Xavier McKinney of all people was coming unblocked off the edge here to blow up the play, but again, that just didn't matter. He casually spun out of the hit right as he got the handoff and burst to the edge for a free touchdown. I almost felt bad for McKinney on that one just because it looked so damn easy for him to do that. What about inside of 2 minutes, with the game still only being a 5-point margin and LSU desperately needing another touchdown to salt this thing away? Again, nobody in purple really had to worry about it because they had Clyde Edwards-Helaire in their backfield. Even with poor blocking in front of him, almost at will, Clyde can make something out of nothing, bounce to the edge, put another stiff arm on McKinney, run through Diggs yet again, and go win the game all by himself. Time after time, clutch situation after clutch situation, when LSU needed a play to be made last year, they looked to Clyde Edwards-Helaire to get it done, and he delivered. Is he small? Yes. Does he lack the long speed to finish some big runs with touchdowns? Also yes. Does he suffer from a mild case of bounce-itis sometimes and try to do too much with his fancy feet? Sure, that's a valid concern. But honestly, even with all of those weaknesses, I really don't care. I know what I saw on tape, flaws and all, and it's the same thing that Joe Burrow saw. A really, really damn good football player. Edwards-Helaire is a non-traditional workhorse back that will put up workhorse numbers. He'll show up every day, he'll work hard, he'll play special teams, he'll run gap scheme if you want to run that, he'll run zone if you want to do that instead, he'll play in the slot, he'll do damage out of the backfield. I mean, there's nothing he can't or won't do. Will he go in the first round? Of course not, especially after his combine testing. But no matter where he does get drafted, I dare you to doubt him the same way his opponents did last year. Because once he gets his chance, and trust me, he will get his chance eventually, I've got a gut feeling that we're all about to see something very, very special. Thank you for watching this week's episode, and thank you as well to our sponsor for the week, Raycon. You may have already heard of them before because Raycon was co-founded by Ray J, and you see people a lot bigger than me like Snoop and Cardi B promoting them as well. But just in case you haven't found them already, the Raycon Everyday E25 earbuds are designed to be the best bang for your buck premium earbuds in the entire wireless Bluetooth market. They start out at about half the price of many other premium brands, but still have the same amazing audio quality with up to 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, a shit ton of bass, and many customizable fittings for different ear sizes that won't fall out or compromise any noise isolation. Plus, the Everyday E25s come with a ton of different color options, so you can get whichever ones fit your own personal style. They've come in handy a lot for me lately because I've gone on a ton of isolated hikes and runs so that I can still get outside the house and not go stir crazy without actually being around people, social distancing and all that. And being able to go on those trail runs or hikes in the middle of nowhere with Bluetooth headphones that are both easy to wear and have great audio quality has been really awesome. If you're also looking for high-quality Bluetooth earbuds that won't break your wallet, go to buyraycon.com/Brett for 15% off your order. Again, that's buyraycon.com/Brett down in the description below for a 15% discount.